You said never let me go.
What's her name?
Prayer.
Roxy.
Should a wife take her husband's last name? What do you guys think?
I think it's up to her. Totally up to her.
You think it's up to her?
Up to her.
Stop playing with me, lady.
Because some people are happy with their last names and they think they have cute last names, and other people are like, oh, I hate my last name. Maybe like I'll marry someone with a nice last name. So yeah, but I think it's totally up to her.
What if your husband wants you to take his last name?
Yeah, I'm not like that, you know.
It depends on how like in love and stuff you are with him. If you have like a very solid, stable relationship and that's something that you've discussed, then yeah, take your husband's last name.
Money, bitch, heard you on that funny shit.
Do you think couples has to discuss about this before getting married?
Yeah, but I don't think it's like an end-all, be-all, make or break it aspect of a relationship. And it shouldn't be if you're in love.
Okay.
I second what she says.
Don't play with me.
Yeah, I definitely think that like it should be the woman's choice, and like I feel like a last name doesn't determine like how much love there is like in the relationship. Like I don't know. I don't think a last name really like means much.
Do you think your last name is a huge part of your identity?
For me, no.
No? Okay.
I don't think so. I think it's interesting because my family's from India, and so I worked really hard growing up to get people to pronounce my first name correctly. However, my mom is like a physician, and she has never cared if her patients butcher her last name. So because of that, growing up around her, having that mindset, I was like, oh, like what I do is more important than what my name means or who I am.
Okay.
So yeah.
I don't think it means much, but I do love my last name. Like it flows very well with my name,
Oh,
so I do
okay.
kind of want to
Okay, last name.
keep. Yeah, I do want to keep like my last name.
So you finally end up with someone who has the same last name as yours. That means you're still gonna maintain that name, right?
I think so. Yep.
Do you think it's possible that way?
I mean, I have like a pretty long last name, and I don't know anyone who has the same last name, so I have a feeling that whoever I marry is not going to share it with me, but if they do, I'm not going to have an issue with it.
Your IG?
PRERNYC.
_ROXYDAY_.
What's her name?
Emily.
Taylor.
Should a wife take her husband's last name? What do you guys think?
I think it's a total preference. I don't think it's like a necessity. It's something I would look forward to if I were marrying my husband. I would like to take on the last name, but I know she really likes her current last name.
We don't care.
So I don't know if she would feel the same.
What if your husband wants you to take his last name?
I think it's up to the woman. Like she should have a say in it, but I can understand why a husband will want that.
Do you think couples have to discuss about this before getting married?
Shut your stupid ass up.
Yeah, I think that's a discussion that should be had.
You think they should?
Yeah.
I agree. It should be up to the woman, whatever she wants to do, but I think you should probably discuss it before you get married.
Before getting married.
Yeah.
Do you think your last name is a huge part of your identity?
Yeah, it's definitely a huge part of your identity. So I think it's a discussion to have because the woman would be losing that part of herself in a sense. So you want to make sure she's comfortable with that.
Do you agree with her?
Totally.
Alright guys, your IG so they can follow you.
At Emily Coobs. I'm always looking for Instagram followers. EMILYKUBS.
What's her name?
Rachel.
Anna.
Should a wife take her husband's last name? What do you guys think?
I don't think she should have to, no.
Why?
Well, for me, it's because I got married later and I've spent so far 35 years of my life with one last name.
Whoa.
And it's a lot of paperwork in order to have to change all of that. So I don't think it's necessary.
So what if your husband wants you to change your name to his name?
No.
I don't think I would have married somebody that was like that.
We're gonna do a deep dive on our guest Instagram.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's choice of the person being married. Like if the woman wants to take the last name, fine. But for me, it's kind of like an ownership thing. I feel like my identity is wrapped up in my name, like you're saying, and then also the whole concept of like going from being your father's woman to your husband's woman. Like for me, I'm like I just am who I am, and I want to stay who I am.
Do you think your last name is a huge part of your identity?
Yes, I do. I think it's how like people introduce themselves with first and last names. I'm not like a one-named act like Cher, so like I think people are gonna know both of my names.
Okay.
So I think it's important.
Do you agree with her?
Yeah.
Do you think couples have to discuss about this before getting married?
Yes, I think it's something. I know some people who have no true like claim to their last name. Maybe it's from somebody that they're just not they don't have a relationship with and they're kind of ready to change it to their husband's name. And I think these are conversations you should have. I don't think you should get married and then be like, wait, I'm not changing my last name, and then the other person is upset. It kind of seems like one of those many things you should talk about as a couple before you get married.
It's very important, right?
Yeah.
Especially if it's important. I guess if it doesn't matter to the people, like that's. But if someone has an expectation that you're going to change the name and like you don't say that, then that's kind of not fair.
It's IG.
It's me, Rachel Payne.
It's Anna J. Martinez.
What's her name?
Lucy.
Anna.
Should a wife take her husband's last name? What do you guys think?
If she wants to.
Okay.
Like, I don't know, I think it's a very case-by-case basis. Like, if she wants to take his last name, do it. If he's cool with that, cool. If she doesn't want to, then she shouldn't have to.
What if your husband wants you to take his last name?
I mean, I think then you should have a conversation about that. About, I don't know, I think it's just, I don't think it's like I just don't think it's a big deal.
Do you think couples have to have this conversation before getting married?
What now?
Probably is a good idea, but I mean, I don't think it's like a thing that should be a societal expectation like it has been historically. Like it should be a decision that couples make together on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's just a very personal decision. Like I can completely understand situations where like I have friends who are like doctors and they don't want to take someone else's last name. So I agree. I think it's just a conversation you should have, not necessarily if you're going to take their last name or not, but just whether or not it's a deal breaker for you one way or another.
Do you think your name is a huge part of your identity?
Maybe the fact that I've never really thought about it says no, but also like, yeah, it's like my family, it's where I come from, so yeah, I guess so.
She got serious. I mean, I definitely think it's a part of my identity. I think there are other aspects of my identity that I personally feel are more important than my name. So like if I were like really in love with someone and they were like, if you don't take my last name, that's a deal breaker. One, that would be fucked up. But two, I don't really care that much, so I would at least consider it.
Yeah, come look at this. What if you finally end up marrying someone with the same last name as yours?
Impossible. No one else has my last name. I don't think anyone else has my last name.
I mean, what if? That means you have to maintain that same name.
Yeah, easy, fine. Great. That like takes out the whole conversation.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
What's her name?
Grace.
Natalia.
Should a wife take her husband's last name? What do you guys think?
I think it's up to the woman. I think if she wants to take his last name, she should, but power to her if she wants to keep her last name. I would keep my last name.
You will keep it?
Yeah.
What if your husband wants you to take his last name?
I feel like I'd keep my name. I feel like I want to keep my name.
I would keep my last name.
You'll keep it. Why?
I don't want to do any of that paperwork.
What if your husband wants you to take his last name?
Then he's not my husband anymore.
Did she seriously just say that?
Like,
fuck off. Do you think your last name is a huge part of your identity?
I think mine is. They're awesome. Last name's Apple, so I feel like I should keep it. I feel like it's part of my name. Yeah.
Okay. Do you think couples have to discuss about this before getting married?
Yeah, I think that's definitely a conversation before marriage. Like, I feel like that's, after you're engaged, when you're engaged, I feel like that's probably the time to talk about it, right?
I mean, I feel like if it's a deal breaker, for sure have a conversation, but it shouldn't be a deal breaker.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a deal breaker.
Alright guys, your IG so they can follow you guys.
Grace the Apple.
Natalia Goches.
What's her name?
Emma.
Should a wife take her husband's last name? What do you think?
I'm married and I didn't take my husband's name, but I got married later in life and I'd already had a child by then, and my son has my maiden name. And so when I got married, I didn't take my husband's name because I wanted to have the same name as my son and keep it like that and keep the name together. And then my husband has 3 children from a previous marriage. And they've all got his surname. So we're a blended family. And my name on one side and his name on the other, with our children with the separate surnames.
So you kept your name?
Yes.
What if your husband insists that you have to take his last name?
He wouldn't, because he loves me and he respects me and he respects my opinion. And so we talked about it, and we talked about maybe combining our names together. But when it came to it, I just decided, and he was happy and respected my wishes and understood my reasons. But also, all my email accounts are in my name. I work in a school, and all the pupils know my name as that, and so it just made sense. And because I use my surname quite a lot, and so that's why I decided to keep it.
Do you think your last name is a huge part of your identity?
Totally. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Because as well now you're on social media, and so you're known for your name, aren't you? And so, yeah.
Do you think couples should discuss about this before getting married?
I think couples should discuss a lot of things before getting married. You know, all of these nuanced things that are going to come up, and, you know, buying a house, and, you know, what are your thoughts on names, and just lots and lots of things, just to have like a real in-depth conversation. Whether or not you're going to combine your bank accounts and things like that.
So you think they should discuss before getting married?
Agreed.
All right. What's your name?
I'm Maddie.
Should a wife take her husband's last name? What do you think?
I'm indecisive. I think if you're, you know, made a name for yourself, you're like really established in your job, you've done a lot of work, I think you should definitely keep your last name.
That is blasphemous!
Also, if you like want to keep your last name, if you just like want to keep that like part of your life too, that's really important for me. I think I'm probably not going to take my husband's last name, but I think too it's really sweet when you do take your husband's last name. So I'm pretty 50-50.
50-50?
Yeah.
What if your husband insists of you taking his last name? You're going to take it?
You know, I think there's always room for negotiation, but if it's like a really big deal to him, I could take it, yeah.
Do you think couples have to discuss about this before getting married?
I would hope that I've discussed it with my partner before.
This is a big deal.
For sure.
So you think they should discuss before getting married?
I think for sure. We should discuss.
Yes, that makes sense. That makes really sense.
Well, thank you.
All right, your IG so they can follow you.
MadBat4.
What's your name?
Sophia.
I'm Nicole.
I'm Colsey.
Should a wife take her husband's last name? What do you guys think?
If she wants to, it should be her choice.
I think she should have the choice.
I mean, what if your husband wants you to take his last name?
Well, you should have to want to also. Like, I think it's a conversation that should be had. I think it does make sense for a lot of families. Like, sometimes it's just easier to, and that's okay if that's your answer. Like, if it's just easier to, for like the function of society, to have like one shared name. But I do think it should be a conversation and not an assumption.
I definitely agree with that line. It should be a conversation, not an assumption. I think that it should also 100% be a choice. I do acknowledge, though, that there is something really special about sharing a name, like outside of practicality. You know, it's a unifying factor, it's a family, but I think the problem is that, you know, in our society, it's expected the woman take the man's, not vice versa. Like, it's not, it is a gender choice a lot of times. But I think it should be a choice.
Do you think couples have to discuss about this before getting married?
Yeah, I think ideally it should be. And when you open it up to be a conversation, then you're allowing for the possibility of maybe you want to hyphenate your names. Like maybe there's more of a compromise solution if it is really important to the husband.
Do you think your last name is a huge part of your identity?
No, I mean, it's a part. It is a part. But it's not like my main identifier.
But people can be really creative. I don't know if this is for me, but I know someone who her parents, like her mom didn't take her dad's name, and then they went every other. So her brother has her dad's last name, her sister has her mom's last name.
What?
Whoa.
It's definitely
so
unique.
Cute.
It's definitely unique, but I know a lot of people with hyphenated name. The moral of the story is it should be a choice, and you should not feel pressured or obligated to do it. Like for me personally, it is a big part of my identity, but I'm actually estranged from my entire family, so I'm really excited in the future to like take my husband's last name because that'll be a new start and like a new family for me.
All right, guys, we're done, guys.
Okay, bye.